My name is Liette Vasseur. I'm full professor here at Brock University in the Biological Sciences Department, as well as affiliated with the Environmental Sustainability Research Center. And I'm also the UNESCO Chair on Community Sustainability from Local to Global. Today what we're doing is putting plugs. So these are perennial plants, in this case Coreopsis. So we're putting them under the vine. We hope they take over with the idea that can help in terms of keeping also more attraction in terms of predator under the vine. The project that we currently have is really looking at the entire agroecosystem. So not just only the vineyard themselves, but how can we increase indigenous plants between the vines so that they can promote this diversity of invertebrates like spider as predators of pests, and at the same time looking at how this ecosystem is within a landscape. You may have trees, you may have herbaceous plants, how these species may help also to protect better the vineyards.
Today we're picking Redstone Merlot, and it's sitting about 23 bricks, and it's the perfect ripeness. This morning we're going to pick about 3 tons. It's going to take us a couple hours, and then we're headed off to another block. We're going to pick some Cab Franc yet today too. We're very excited this year to be partnering with the group at Brock to do a trial with native wildflowers as cover crops in our rows here in the vineyard.
So one part of the study that we do is trying to test different color of sticky trap. So sticky trap are used mostly for monitoring of pests and insects that we have in either vineyard. So now we have here the yellow, and we put them at different height. The reason is that we know also that the leafhopper can probably travel, but also are favoring certain part of the plants more than others.
So here we have the 3 colored sticky traps that we've been using for monitoring. We've got yellow, we've got red, and we've got green. We're focusing on leafhoppers. So actually, can I show you how many leafhoppers are on this card? Is that okay? There's like quite a few. All those little banded things are all leafhoppers. The July batch definitely showed about 3 times as many. It was quite a lot. But we found that the yellow cards really do attract more as opposed to the red and the green. There aren't as many leafhoppers, but there are other insects. So those are our main traps. Then we just observe them under the microscope. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of leafhoppers. I'm seeing some parasitic wasps, aphids, a moth. Leafhoppers, for example, are parasitized by things called fairy wasps, and they're very silly looking and very tiny, but they do a good job at maintaining leafhopper species.
There's actually the cask of the leafhopper. So like this isn't producing any chlorophyll, making any sugar, and going into my grapes. So since starting here in 2019, I realized my biggest challenge here wasn't going to be downy and powdery mildew, it was going to be leafhopper. And Liette and her team were working on all the different biodiversity programs, like kill 2 birds with 1 stone, I guess, add more biodiversity back in, but also make grape growing easier.
The reason that we were actually really interested in grapes is grapes are one of the highest inputs in terms of both pesticides and fungicides. Being in the Niagara region, this is a heavy tourism area as well as population, and so the impacts of pesticides and fungicides are important, not just to the people that are consuming the wine or the grapes, but also the people that live in the surrounding region. As well as it's a very important place in terms of ecosystems. There are a lot of pollinators and insects and even soil fungi that aren't found in a lot of different places. So it's a very special area that needs to be preserved. And because of that, it makes sense to promote organics.
This is just me personally, but integrative, regenerative, biodynamic. Like, I've always found biodynamic wines to be lifted. My wife can always say she can pick out a biodynamic wine over a conventional wine any time.
For us here at Redstone, organic and sustainably grown grapes we feel gives us the highest quality wine possible. All the energy and passion that goes into the grapes to make them clean and beautiful at the end of the year organically really shines through in our final product and the wine that you get to drink.
It's an amazing collaboration. When you think about it, what we have is the people that are working in the field. We have scientists who aren't just isolated in their labs, but they're actually working with those farmers. And then our job at OCO is to get that information out to the public.
For the research, especially when you do applied research, the partners are super important. So in my case, having Southbrook, Redstone, Tawse as vineyards that are actively involved in this research is very important because we can see directly what's happening in the vineyards.
As researchers, we know that our research is important, but that's only a piece. We need to get it out there to government agencies, to policymakers, to homeowners, home gardeners that want to do something organic. Our research can have effects that we don't even realize at the time of our findings, but through this knowledge mobilization, it's far-reaching. And when it's far-reaching like that, that's the process of change.
I always say to my students, everything is connected to everything. And this is especially true when we start doing research on climate and environmental variation, because they vary all the time. Climate always changes. It's worse now, but it always changes. So this is how we have adaptation of species. And this is why we need to figure out what are the conditions to enable these adaptations.